Let's start with you, Erin. I think you really ought to go first. And I want you to talk a little bit about the trauma you experienced as a child and how I rescued you. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey guys, welcome to the Maven Parent Podcast. I'm Erin Kunkle, and this is my assistant.
I'm her husband, Brett Kunkle. I'm her husband. I'm her partner. I'm her confidant. I'm her ally.
That's right. And we are here to talk about parenting as believers, as followers of Christ, parenting in this culture at this time, the challenges that it brings, the joys that it brings. So all those things we want to talk about on this podcast. And
I think raising children. So there's parenting. There's also the idea of raising children, because there are some people out there who maybe aren't the parents, but they're the grandparents, but they're still raising children, or other folks that are out there that I think would benefit from what we're going to be talking about. We're really, how do you raise faithful followers of Jesus Christ in today's culture and all the challenges of that. So that's what this podcast is really designed to do, is to help equip those of us who are raising the next generation. And so we want to welcome you officially into our home. We're sitting in our dining room, in our living room, family room. It's all kind of one big great room. So welcome into our home. This is the closest you're ever going to get to being in our home, though. So if you show up at our front door and knock, I'm not letting you in, okay? That's a little weird.
Kunkle, that's rude. I will let you in. Of course we will let them in.
That's just because you're too trusting. So welcome into our home. A couple of things while you're in our home I think we need to prepare you for. This is not a professional studio. So
No,
we
it
actually
is not.
live here. And
We do.
so there will be kids coming in and out sometimes while we're recording. And I may be saying something. I may be in the middle of a deep, wise thought. And if there's a kid that runs behind us, we're not going to cut that.
No,
because that's
we
gold.
wouldn't want to cut into that deep thought. And
Exactly. So there may be, all kinds of outside noises. I mean, our son is behind the cameras right now filming. There are going to be times when I make jokes and he's just going to laugh out loud, and we're going to keep that. So, and then the second thing you need to know, if you haven't already picked up on it yet, in the Kunkle family, our love language is sarcasm. And so that's just the way we love each other and how we love you too. So if you don't like sarcasm, number one, what's wrong with you? Number two, it'll grow on you over time. Or number three, you'll stop listening.
Offended. Hopefully we won't offend.
Yeah, so welcome to our living room. Hopefully you won't offend, honey. I don't typically offend people. Welcome to our living room. Welcome to the Maven Parent Podcast. All right, where do we start?
We should probably start with how we became parents. Maybe why we're doing
Yeah,
this.
I still have questions about that. I still wonder about that process.
No, you do not, and we are not talking about that on this podcast.
Well,
so,
eventually we'll get to that topic.
Well,
You've got to talk about that topic with kids in today's world.
Okay.
You need to stay relevant, honey.
Okay. I'll work on staying relevant. So we have 5 kids. Our oldest is 24 and out of the house and married, and our youngest is 8 years old. So.
And in between. Don't forget those kids in between. We don't want to leave them out. The middle kids are often the forgotten kids. Okay, so we have an 18-year-old son, a 16-year-old daughter, and a 12-year-old daughter as well.
We do. Thanks for the reminder. So we have 5 kids, and we, as you can tell from the ages, we are in lots of different worlds.
And let's go ahead and announce it right here, right now, that Erin is also a grandma. Congratulations, Erin. Our oldest daughter has 2 little girls. So we are grandparents.
Right.
And
since you are my husband and not just my assistant, you are also a grandparent.
I am. And which is really weird because we're super young. I mean, it's weird to be a grandpa at 29. That's just a weird thing. And I think you
also
probably...
impossible because our daughter's 24. So.
Okay. I think after this, you're going to be starting the Maven grandparent podcast, right? Is that what you were going to start?
No, I only have not even 2 years as a grandma, so I have nothing of wisdom to offer in that category. But we have been parents for a few years, so we've learned some things along the way, and we've made a lot of mistakes.
You have made quite.
We have some successes. We've learned a ton about ourselves, each other, about all different personalities, because all 5 of our kids are very different, and as you can imagine. So we've learned a lot, but
Can I jump in here?
Yeah.
I think it's important. I think it's important to talk about both the idea that we've had our failures and we've learned through experience, but also the successes as well. In that, and I think some of that we have found is that in following God's prescription for parenting and for raising children and for discipling the next generation, there are some things that God lays out before we make those mistakes that we can follow so that we don't make those mistakes. And I think it's good to talk about that as well. And so we're going to talk about both, and we're going to be real and honest and raw and authentic. Buzzword, ding, ding, ding.
I was just going to say buzzword. Yes, the Bible is the authority in this home and has been our light in parenting as we've navigated over the years some really hard times with our kids, and with each other, it just figuring it all out. So yeah, we will definitely be talking about how we've incorporated the Bible into all that we do in parenting.
Yeah, and let's.
This is a reminder. You need to wear chonies.
What did it say?
Jonah needs to wear his chonies.
Okay, you know what? Let's keep that piece
It
because
might not have heard.
it's
That's Alexa.
Jonah need to wear chilies.
okay. So like we said,
Stop.
first episode, and Alexa jumps in because Alexa's right over there on our desk. Alexa jumps in and says,
Because our 8-year-old set a timer, because he's a wise guy. He set a timer to remind him to wear his chonies.
okay. So the podcast is essentially
This
heading
is
downhill
about as real
already.
as it gets right now.
Okay, I think this is probably a good opportunity to get into our story and tell a little bit of our story. And I think what that'll help people do is just kind of get an understanding of our background and what shaped us, what experiences shaped us, how we got into this whole parenting thing anyway, and what we've been doing to raise kids. So let's share our stories. And let's start with you, Erin. I think you really ought to go first. And I want you to talk a little bit about the trauma you experienced as a child and how I rescued you. No, I'm just kidding. No, you want to start, honey?
Sure.
Go for it.
So my parenting journey has started interestingly. I grew up in a Christian home, but my senior year of high school, 5 months before graduation, I found out I was pregnant. So that's for me when my life really took a turn. I realized that although I was saying I was a Christian, I wasn't actually following Christ with my life. And that was really the time that God got a hold of me and that I came to faith in Christ. And
so that's kind of two beginnings at once. The beginning of parenting for you and also the beginning of your walk with Christ.
Yeah, thankfully I didn't go into parenting completely alone. I had not only my family, but I had Jesus now in my life and as the one I was following. So yeah, so that was a crazy time. I was thankfully my parents were loving and gracious to me, and I was able to stay at home, and I started at a community college near my house and had my daughter halfway through the first semester of school. was able to finish my first year at the community college, and then transferred that next fall to Biola University, which was near where my parents lived, where I grew up. And so I was able to, even as a single mom, attend the university because we lived so close, because I had great family support. I have 3 sisters who all pitched in with my daughter. So it was a family effort, but I was able to do it. So started at Biola, and then...
This is the part where I was introduced into your life. You asked me into your heart, and...
No, Jesus was in my heart, remember?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Right, Jesus.
But at Biola University, we met.
That's right.
And I think, we got to tell the dating part of this. I mean, so how did we connect? And it was...
yeah. We connected through your roommate, actually, I guess. But so we were about a month or so into school.
Yeah, and I had already transferred into Biola. I had been at Biola 1 year. This is my second year. Mm-hmm. And at Biola, they do this unique thing, I think, to kind of foster some healthy dating, some healthy group dating, and they were called guy rads. So if anyone's a Biola alumni who's listening, you'll recognize this, and we all, I think, Biola alumni laugh at this, but a guy rad stands for get your roommate a date. And so what you would do is you'd find a date for your roommate, they'd find a date for you, and then the whole floor that lived together on the floor we'd all go out and have a fun time.
And the dates were supposed to be a surprise, right? Your roommate was supposed to...
They're supposed to be blind. Well, I don't know if they're supposed to be blind dates. Oh. They were sometimes blind dates. Sometimes they weren't. And, my roommate had said, hey, who do you want to go with? And it's a great opportunity just in a healthy, kind of easygoing environment to get to know a Christian sister, a neat Christian girl. And I had seen Erin on campus. I'm sure she had seen me on campus too, but I had seen Erin on campus, and I thought, man, there's a neat Christian girl that I'd like to get to know. I thought she was beautiful, and I thought, Biola, you've kind of got the requirement of having a Christian testimony, so you just kind of assume that, most people are Christians, they're believers, and so I wanted to get to know her. And I remember telling my roommate, hey, there's this girl I saw. I'd love to go out with her and get to know her. And he's like, who is it? And I'm like, I don't know. And we were sitting in chapel of all places one morning, waiting for chapel to begin, and lo and behold, Erin walks in, and it was like this bright shining light around her glowing, like, angelic face. And I was sitting with my roommate, and I said, there she is. And she happened to be in his class, and he's like, okay, I'll ask her at class. And he asked you to go on this blind date with Brett Kunkle, and your response was, absolutely.
No, actually, so now back to my side of things. So as I said, I'm not living on campus, so I have no idea what a guy rat is. I didn't actually know you yet.
No, you're one of the few.
And I didn't know your roommate. So then your roommate approaches me one day in class and asks if I want to go on this thing with this guy named Brett. And I don't know who he is, your roommate. I don't know who you are. And I don't know why your roommate's bugging me. I'm new to the campus. I'm feeling, in a lot of ways kind of insecure as, at the time, the only single mom on campus. So anyways, it was... Yeah,
I think that plays into it.
It did,
and that's part of the story here.
Because I didn't know.
Yeah, you're a single mom, and you're thinking, your priorities shift at that point.
Oh,
okay, yeah, you're a mom. Dating is on the back burner, and so that was kind of why you had some of those thoughts.
Yeah, actually, I had chosen to be an education major partly because I thought as a single mom that being a teacher would be a good job. Growing up, my mom was a teacher, and so I just thought being a single parent would be great to be a teacher because you would get summers off and holidays off with your kid. So I was all about planning for myself and my daughter and navigating life. And I had lost a lot of friends after getting pregnant and graduating and everybody kind of doing their own thing. And I was obviously on a different path than most people. So when I started at Biola, I had made some good girlfriends right away. And dating was absolutely the last thing I wanted to do or was thinking about. I really was, focused on school and trying to be a good mom.
Until you met me. Until you met me, and I changed all that.
And then you crashed in and ruined. No.
Well, I'll bring you up to speed on my background. I grew up in a Christian home, and actually at a very young age, put my faith in Christ at 5 years old. Was baptized at 6 in a big Southern Baptist church back on the East Coast, and was really involved as a junior higher and high schooler in my youth ministry. Had a great youth pastor, Jim Piper, who was a huge mentor and influence in my life, along with my parents. And they just mentored me right into ministry. I was a junior in high school, decided I was going to go into full-time vocational ministry. When I was in college, my church hired me to be the junior high pastor at our church. So I was in ministry, attending Biola, living on campus, and then that's when we kind of connected.
Yeah.
So from two very different kind of worlds in a sense, and we started dating. I mean, you showed up and you were just awestruck and, I mean, blown away and swept you off your feet and all that good stuff, right? And
So, yeah, I did end up going on the Guy Rad. I had some girlfriends that were going. It was a big group thing, so... and yeah, my mom was encouraging to just go and have fun and hang out with some good people. So I did go, we did meet, and we did really hit it off right away. And yeah, as we were talking and getting along well, and then I find out you're a youth pastor. In my mind, I'm thinking, oh, this is hilarious, because this would never work out. He is a junior high pastor, discipling and a role model for kids, and here I am just struggling through college and working, and I have a kid, and so it seemed like a really terrible match.
And I didn't know that she was a single mom. I didn't know
No.
Erin was a single mom until at the end of the date. We hit it off. We had a great time. We hung out even after the official Guy Rad was over, walked her to her car, and I'm thinking, oh, I got to ask this girl out again. And so I'm trying to work up the courage. We get to the car. I ask her out again, and she's like, yeah, I'd love to, but I need to tell you something. And then she says, I have a daughter, which, of course, I wasn't expecting that news. And you quickly opened your door, reached in your car, pulled out a picture, and kind of gave me a quick story. And then you said, hey.
Yeah, I just said something to the effect of, I got pregnant in high school. I became a Christian through the experience, and anyways, it was so great to meet you.
You said I totally understand if you don't call.
Yeah. Oh,
but
yeah.
You did give me your number, and so.
Yeah, and drove away quickly, knowing that this would never work.
But it did. Apparently, it did work, and so we ended up, just kind of sitting down that following week and hearing each other's story, and then just kind of we started dating. And but of course it's a unique situation because now we're dating and there's a kid there.
Yeah.
And so we ended up dating for about a year and a half. We're engaged for 5 months, got married when I graduated from Biola. Erin still had 2 years left in this. But we got married. Lexi was 3.5 at that point. No. Oh, so yeah. 2.5.
Yeah. She was only 2.5.
That's right. She was 10 months old when we started dating. So
Yeah.
2.5. And so we started off marriage as new husband and wife and also new parents.
Yeah.
Trying
we were
to figure this out.
Instant family.
Yeah, instant family for sure. And then 2 more years, you graduated from college. We were in Southern California at that time. I was youth pastoring at my church at that time, full time. And then moved out to Colorado. Went out there and youth pastored for 4 years out in Colorado. And while we were in Colorado, we had 2 more kids, Micah and Paige. Paige was born right before we moved back to Southern California, where I started my seminary training at Talbot, did my master's degree in philosophy of religion and ethics at Talbot School of Theology. And we were both really involved during those 10 years that it took me to
Why did it take you so long, Brett?
Because I was doing ministry and I was really soaking it in. I was going one class at a time. But it actually ended up being
You
a really
crammed a 3-year program into
2-year program.
A 2-year program into 10 years.
Yes, I had a
That's
special
good.
talent for that kind of thing. So I actually had started with another ministry called Stand to Reason, which is an apologetics ministry, and was speaking and traveling, and so.
And to your credit, I mean, you were working full time. I'm staying home. We had 3 kids when you started. We actually had 5 by the time you graduated.
That's
so
right. 2 more
there
came
were good
along.
reasons, I guess, that we
course
took a
there were.
while in that school journey.
Yes. So was at Stand to Reason for 14 years, doing a lot of stuff with students and parents. And also, I mean, in our days of ministry, you were vitally involved in our youth ministry. Some of the stuff that we did at Stand to Reason, you were involved with. And then we started Maven in 2017 to really reach young people and the people who disciple young people, parents, youth workers, and really to help a new generation of Christ followers know God's truth, pursue His goodness, and then create beauty for the world, however that looks, whether it's artistry or whether it's business or whether it's ministry. What we do then reflects
Raising a family, all those things.
that all reflects the beauty of Christ.
Yeah.
So that's really our mission at Maven. So that's our story.
Yeah.
And so there's obviously a lot there that shaped us and who we are and how we've done this parenting thing. I mean, so there's parenting history here for 24 years or so. There is also our ministry experience. We did youth ministry together while we were dating and married. We were in local church youth ministry doing junior high, high school, college ministry. We volunteered together in children's ministry at our local church here in Southern California. And then just ministry-wise, through our work with Parachurch and starting a parachurch organization, a nonprofit like Maven, we've been doing work with young people for a good 24, 25 years.
Yeah.
And so with all of that comes lots of successes, lots of failures, lots of mess ups, but hopefully a lot of wisdom that we want to kind of share and help you in this journey as we're learning in this journey and figuring out ways where even those of you who are out there who kind of form the Maven community can also share your wisdom with us. Would love for you to get in touch with our ministry and to share some of the things that you're doing that have been really helpful or good things that you've done with your kids. So you can go to our website, maventruth.com, and reach out to us there and share some of your successes. Also, that's a great place for you to ask your questions. We would love, as we do this podcast, to get your feedback and to hear your questions and what are the issues that you're struggling with as a mom, as a dad, as a couple, as a single mom, as a single dad, as a grandma or a grandpa who are helping to raise kids, even as a youth worker or a Christian educator. I mean, what are the issues that you're facing, that you're hearing out there, that you're trying to navigate with kids? And let's have a conversation about all of that together and learn from one another as co-disciples of Jesus. That's how we see this thing. We are co-disciples. The one who really disciples us is Jesus. Yeah. And then we have influence on one another. So anyway, thank you for listening to the inaugural kickoff of the Maven Parenting Podcast, and we look forward to a long journey here together.
Yeah, let's get started.